Scam calls seem out of control. We're in good company. Utahns last month alone received more than 35 million robocalls.
I don't know why I'm smiling, because it's so annoying. Those relentless calls have gotten on the nerves of an Orem woman, so much so that she called KSL consumer investigator Matt Gephardt to see if anything can actually be done about them. Matt, what'd you find?
Yeah, you're smiling because it's kind of like throwing your arms up in the air at this point, right, Mike? I mean, yeah, every 13 seconds, a Utahn is hit by one of these spam robocalls. And despite all of the new technologies that we've seen come out in the last couple of years trying to cut down on these flim-flams, the problem we found is actually getting worse. The dulcet harp tones that fill Sandra Mangum's home are being interrupted all day, every day, she says, by the harsh electric noise of her cell phone. What's worse, who is on the other end of the line? Scammers trying every which way to rip her off.
It was overtaking my whole life to the point that I couldn't decide even to answer the phone.
Sandra says she's never fallen for any of the scams, but she is sick of having to screen her calls.
So I'd like to know what can be done about it.
You ask, KSL investigates.
It is annoying.
Sandra is far from alone, according to cybersecurity expert Alex Hammerstone, who himself is not immune.
I'm getting about 50 a day.
According to Truecaller, which tracks scam calls all over the world, the U.S. is now the second most spammed country in the world and has seen a 56% increase of spam calls compared to last year. Number 2, that is a significant rise from last year's position of 8th.
It's almost to the point where we can't even use our phones as phones anymore because, 90% of the calls for a lot of us are just these robocalls.
There are apps and services that can cut down on unwanted junk calls. And there are settings on most smartphones that will allow you to only let calls through from numbers that you recognize. Both can be very effective, but only if you're okay missing calls, which not everybody can afford to do.
I'm in consulting, so I have to answer my phone. I can't just ignore my phone when it rings.
When I wrote the email to you, I was up to here with frustration.
Sandra says she is hopeful that eventually technology will get ahead of the bad guys and, in the meantime, that those who make a living ripping off others get a life.
It is taking over my life.
We checked with the Federal Trade Commission, which says their best advice is hang up if you get one of these calls, and then report it to the Federal Trade Commission because they do work to try to shut these numbers down, though they will admit it is a game of whack-a-mole. If you got a problem you can't solve, give us a shot at it at the number 385-707-6153, or you can email me, matt@ksl.com.
Thanks, Matt. We all feel your pain.
Yeah, we're taking care of the flim-flams for us. We appreciate it, Matt.